Hi, this is Peter from the DJ Podcast. Welcome to the second part of this series documenting the changes to my DJ setup. Let's start by revisiting the possible improvements that I was considering from the first DJ setup video in October 2025. The first improvement was modernizing my DJ setup, starting with a new DJ mixer. At the beginning of this year, I started having problems with my Allen & Heath Zone 42 DJ mixer. By April, the problems were bad enough that they prevented me from recording new DJ mixes. After considering my options, I ultimately decided to purchase a Pioneer DJM A9 DJ mixer. If you want to know more about why I chose to buy the DJM A9, check out my first impressions video linked in the description below. It's been a few months since I purchased the DJM A9, and so far I have enjoyed using it. One of my favorite things about the DJM A9 is the dual USB audio interfaces built into the mixer. Now I can connect both of the laptops that I use directly to the mixer. Gone are the Native Instruments Audio 8 DJ and Behringer UMC 204 HD audio interfaces that I was using before. There are still features that I have yet to fully explore on the DJM A9, and when I do, I plan to make videos about them. The second improvement was purchasing speaker stands to get my KRK Rokit 5s off of the desktop and closer to ear level. I purchased a pair of Note stands at the end of last year. Setting them up was surprisingly easy, and it was nice to regain some desktop space. Best of all, the sound is now more clear and accurate. It may seem obvious that this would be the case, but for many years I mixed exclusively in my headphones and wasn't used to mixing on speakers. The final improvement was adjusting the camera angles for my DJ mix videos. Since my last video, I tried all sorts of different camera angles. At one point, I even turned my DJ setup around 180 degrees. Recently, I decided that simpler is better. My mixes are more about the music than they are the DJ, and my current setup reflects that. I removed the old Microsoft webcam from my setup, and now only use the GoPro Hero 4 Silver. Choosing the GoPro over the webcam was a no-brainer, as its video quality is much better. That wraps up the improvements that I wanted to make following my last video, but those are not all of the additions that I've made to my setup. Around the same time that I purchased my speaker stands, I also picked up an Elgato Stream Deck Mini. The Mini is the smallest of the Stream Deck product line and features 6 customizable buttons, each with their own LCD screen that can display images and text. Currently, my main use for the Stream Deck Mini is to add chapter markers to the video recordings of my DJ mixes. This helped me in the editing process. I know that there are an almost infinite number of ways to use a Stream Deck. If you are a DJ who has a Stream Deck, please leave a comment letting me know how you use it. Another new addition to the setup is the newer TL21C RGB tube light. For lighting a small area like my DJ setup, it does a great job. Adding a second light not only better illuminates my setup while recording videos, it also allows me to create more interesting looks by mixing different colors of light together. That wraps up the additions to my DJ setup. Now let's talk about live streaming. From the end of August to the start of November, I streamed twice a week on Twitch. I decided to start streaming for a few reasons. First, I was already using live streaming software to record my DJ mix videos. Everything was set up for me to stream. All I had to do was press the Start Stream button instead of the Start Recording button. Second, by scheduling 2 streams per week, I forced myself to get back into the habit of mixing regularly. Finally, even though I was still playing music in a room by myself, it felt like the stakes were higher. You can't stop and restart a live stream like you can a recording when no one is watching. I knew that if I made a mistake, I had to continue on, just like if I were mixing in front of a crowd. A few weeks after releasing my setup video in October 2025, I decided to stop streaming. It was clear to me that only streaming 2 to 4 hours per week while recording my weekly mix videos wasn't enough time to gain a following on the platform. From what I could see at the time, the top DJs on Twitch streamed 4 to 8 hours a day, oftentimes every day of the week without any days off. Even if I could stream the same number of hours per day to compete with them, I wouldn't want to. That's not to say I didn't enjoy my time streaming or that I never will do it again. I just won't do it regularly at the moment. Because I'm not streaming anymore, I removed the Dell computer monitor and Shure SM58 microphone from my setup to use elsewhere. Looking to the future, I recognize that a lot of my equipment is getting to the age when it will start to fail or cause problems, leading me to make upgrades to my setup. The Asus laptop that I use to run Traktor Pro 4 is over 10 years old now, and Windows 10 reached end-of-life status last year. On one of my Kontrol X1s, some of the buttons don't register every button press. I don't know if this is an issue due to age or something that occurred when storing them in boxes to move across the country multiple times. Even if the laptop and my other Kontrol X1 continued working forever, no one knows what will happen with Traktor now that InMusic agreed to acquire Native Instruments. I hope that development on Traktor ramps up and it becomes a more viable competitor in the DJ software and hardware market, but only time will tell. Since making my last setup video, I started attending Open Decks night events in my area. They all use Pioneer setups, which means that I started using Rekordbox to prepare my tracks and get them onto a USB drive. So far, I have been selectively adding tracks and playlists to Rekordbox, as I don't need my entire music collection to play for 20 or 30 minutes at a time. Even in this limited capacity, it is annoying managing multiple music libraries. Hopefully Native Instruments will add one library support to Traktor soon. Then I can export my tracks to a USB drive without using Rekordbox. Alternatively, I could switch away from Traktor entirely. If money was no object, I would purchase a pair of CDJs, but for now, that is only a fantasy. In the meantime, I want to explore what parts of Rekordbox my DJM A9 unlocks. It would be awesome if I could MIDI map the player controls in Rekordbox to my X1s, similar to how they are mapped in Traktor. That wraps up this overview of my current DJ setup. Thanks for watching this video on the DJ Podcast. See you next time.